Today we are going to discuss about Dawood Browning's most renowned famous poem, Porphyria's Lover. It was it was representative of the age of Victorian era. It was first published in Monthly Repertory in 1837 and it was also published in 1842 with poetic collection of Robert Browning's Bells and Pomegranate. In the year 1873, it was published as Porphyria's Lover. In the first collection of 1836, it was published as only Porphyria, but in the collection of 1873, it was published as Porphyria's Love. Full title was given at that time. This poem is depicted in the dramatic monologue. So you have a questions. What is called as a dramatic monologue? Dramatic monologue is a literary term which is used for a narrator or a speaker. As a speaker or narrator would tell the story in a first person narrative. Here there is monologue means that is first person narrative. Monologue and drama which presents in a first person narrative. There is no listener. There is listener but they are not giving reply in this. It's a first person narrative that is called as dramatic monologue. Here in this Porphyria's Lover, we have two characters. That is one is narrator who depicts the story, and another is Porphyria, who is beloved of narrator. So let's start with the poem Porphyria's Lover. What the first 5 lines? This is written in iambic pentameter. So there is stanza of 5 lines, and it is depicted as AB, ABB, CD, CD, C. These are and so on. So these are kind of poetic line, poetic meter. This is iambic pentameter. Rhyme scheme are depicted here, and iambic pentameter it was depicted, and also another thing you must have to remember is masculine meter. Masculine meter means what is meaning of masculine meter? Every last syllabus, only one syllabus is repeated, another line which are rhyming together. Like if we go through called, so here ed, this last line, more, more, here dd, last syllable is rhyming, so that is called as masculine meter. And if we call about feminine meter, it's the last two syllables are rhyming, so that is feminine meter. Okay, now go through the poem. It is a full story how the thing are created, how atmosphere is created, how settings are. So this is all thing are depicted like a one story. Here narrator talks all about him in his dramatic monologue for Filia's love. Okay, we are going through the lines of it. They're like, the rain is set tonight. The sullen mind was still awake. It tore and top down to spite, and it and make it worst vexed to leg. I listen to my heart. I listen to my heart. It's fit to break. These are the 5 lines. Can we go through it? I can write this so you can better understand it. The rain set early tonight. The sullen wind was still awake. It turned and top down, tops down for spite, and did it worst. Did it worse to vex the leg. I listened to my heart, fixed to break. Look, the atmosphere is presented here. The atmosphere is setting. The rain set early tonight. The atmosphere outside is rainy atmosphere. The gloomy atmosphere, rainy atmosphere is presented there. The sullen vine was still awake. The vine, which was depicted outside, which was presented outside, was still awake. There was a very cold and wavy time. The very time that when wine blows very fast, so we feel that kind of dreary feeling. So that feeling is inside our heart when we read the poem. First five lines. In tone and tops down for spy. It's very high, like tops down. And did it worse to vex the leg. All was broken because of the rainy season. Rain too fast. The wind are too fast, blowing too fast. So that makes everything destruction. Here, destruction thing is presented here. Break. I listen to my heart fixed to break. He present this destructive nature that it listen to my heart fixed to break. It should be break. He has already think that his heart is ready to fix break because this atmosphere, in this atmosphere, he thinks that his beloved will not come to his house, not come to meet him. But suddenly the tone is changed when the dreary tone is changed when Porphyria is coming into his cottage. He presents these things with the lines that, and when greeted in Porphyria straight, she shut, she shut the cold out and storm and knelt knit and made the cheerless grit blaze up and blaze up and made the cottage warm, made the cottage, all the cottage warm, which done, she rose and formed her form. These are the five lines. Okay, we go through it first and then next one. When greeted, when greeted in porphyria, straight, and knelt and gave, made the cheerless grit blaze up and made the cottage warm, which done, rose and which done she rose and form its from her form beside the lines form her form rhyming together, so that is called as alliterative meter he used. When glittering porphyria straight, she's coming with a light. Glittering porphyria straight, she closed the door, means she closed. Here he is using and knitted and made, she closed the door. Closed, she shut the cold out and strong. This line is forgotten by me here. And knitted and made cheerless great. He made the great, but not that kind of cheerfulness. He is using cheerless. It's not that much happy she was, because she has left her something behind when she came to meet him. So cheerless great. Knitted. She knitted like this downwards and cheerless great. Blaze up. She light up the candle. And there was a night dreary because the cottage is totally without light at that time. Blackness is there. At that time, she lit up the candle. That means she blaze up the candle. That means that gives light to his cottage. That the Porphyria's entry gives light into the life of narrator. Which done? Everything is done. Then she rose. She wake up. She rose and formed his form. Like when she was sitting like that. She was standing. That time of sitting or standing. He was. She was. Now next line. What depicted next line is with the depiction of next line about when she withdrawed his clothes, her clothes from her own self. That was depicted here also. Withdrawing the dripping shawl and cloak, and stooping the and laid her soiled gloves, untied her gloves and her head and laid the hair fall, laid the damp hair fall. And last she sat down by my side. Which drew the dropping, withdrew the dripping cloak and shawl, and laid her gloves, soiled gloves, and untie and hat and her head and let the damp hair fall. She sat down, and last she sat down by my side. She sat down by my side and called me. Then no voice replied. She came into it, then came into the cottage, then withdrew the dripping cock and shawl. She withdrew, dripping. She put it down, cloak and shawl, from her own self, and laid and laid her solid gloves and untied. Laid her solid come down, get out from her her hand to get it out from her hand, the gloves, and untied her hat. She put out her head and left the damp hair fall and put down her hair fall. The hat which she gone, so some kind of hair fall is happening with her. And last, she sat down by my side. She sat towards me. She sat to by my side, sitting beside the narrator, and called me. She called him. She is asking something to the narrator, but there was no replied by the narrator. Narrator was speaking something. So that kind of behavior of nature, behavior of narrator makes up some kind of tension. Like what is happening next? But here in next, the porpheria takes some action and she put his arm around her waist like that. Even narrator cannot say something. He is not giving any reply to her, but she has some kind of trust inside him that he will he is there he is there to love her. Even anything situation is, he will definitely love her. And here porphyria is also love him. So next, and go through the next stanza. So she put my arm about his waist, about her waist, and made her smooth white shoulder bare. The white thing described here is upper class of Victorian life. So white shoulder and made her smooth white shoulder bare. Then what he depicted is, and all her yellow hair displaced. Stooping, my cheeks lie on there. And sprayed over all her yellow hair. She's spreading her over all. Next we go through. Okay, she put his arm. She took his arm and make it around her waist. She just make her white shoulder, smooth white shoulder bare, and make narrator to lie on her shoulder. This time, and stooping, my cheeks lie on there, and spread all her hair on his face. That means that here narrator feels some kind of submissive in himself when not porphyria. Any woman of Victorian age can't do the thing like women. Man must have to put. Man must have to be on her shoulder. Here, narrator also thinks that the woman must be submissive in nature. She must too relied on him, not he relied on her. But here, she is from the class of upper class and narrator is from lower class, so that is class discrimination. Social class discrimination is presented here. So must be lower class should be relied on upper class. So narrator don't like these things, and what happened next? You can see yellow hair. Then murmuring. She murmuring. She is not saying this in a loudful manner. As she's a person from a social upperward class. But when it comes to society, that I love that person. She is not saying that to a particular society that I love that person because he is from lower class. So that thing is presented here, murmuring. In a murmuring voice, she says that she loved me. Murmuring, she loved me. She, here he used the word too weak because she's murmuring. She too weak. She's too weak. Too. She's too weak to her heart's endure. Her heart is so much passionable towards narrator that she cannot uh, make herself away from to not expose his her on emotions towards him. So she exposed her emotions to murmuring she loved me. She too weak to her heart's renewal. She's too weak. She's not too much strong. She's too weak to her heart's endure to set its what he she wants to set its passion, con, struggling, struggling, passion free. She's struggled through her passion, struggling word she's using. Struggling passion free. She's struggling. She's struggling. She's weaker. These kind of words are used for porpheria. From pride and from pride and veneer. Ties. This ever. To say the struggling presently from pride and veneer. Ties just ever. And give. This is the word. Give herself to me forever. That means give herself to me forever. With struggling, give herself to me forever. She is giving her total self to me. Now, she is not a submission. Now, narrator is not a submissive here. Yes, submissive person is porphyria. To present her emotions, she is totally being person who is totally uh, affected to the emotions of her. She's struggling through her emotion. She cannot control her emotions, and she said this thing in a murmuring voice. She loved me. Give herself to me forever. She's giving her total self to me. Now she is mine. The narrator says that thing. So here Victorian society's nature came to the minds of narrator, who is a main narrator. So he thinks that he is not submissive now. Submissive is porphyria. She is girls give herself to me forever. Now she is giving everything to the narrator. Now what narrator sings? Show. Mm. But sometimes the thing is totally changed here. But sometimes the passion could prevail. nor could no nights. Tonight's gift is restraint, a sudden thought of one so pale, for love of her and all in vain, should see was come through rain and wine. This was. But passion sometimes prevail. Nor could tonight's gay feast revealed restraint, sudden thought of one so pale, a sudden thought of one so pale, but love of her and all in vain as she came through rain and storm, wind and rain. But sometimes passion, her passion should prevail. Her, she is upper class society. At that time when she came to the cottage of the narrator, that time she needs to, she must have to remain present in the feast of her house. But she reject that thing because her passion prevailed and come to meet the narrator. A sudden thought of one so well. This thing sometimes make me pale. Who? Narrator. Narrator made pale during that time. But love of her and all in vain. I love her and it comes to vain. When she came through rain and wine, she is coming through rain and wine. The situation outside is not good, but in that situation, in that struggling situation, she came to meet me at the cottage. The next lines are be sure. Here, what he do? Be sure. I looked into her eyes, at her eyes. He, narrator, looked into the eyes of porpheria, and what he found? Proud and good. I knew. Happy and proud. As I knew, you already knew that she was happy and proud. What he knew more than it is she porphyria worshipped me. That make the writer surprise. And through this surprise, what happened? His heart being struck, sullen, it swell, make my heart swell. The heartbeat should be swelling like this, and it it grows, and still it grew. Look at the words, how you use the word. Porphyria worshipped me. He thinks himself as a god. During that society, men are worshipped by women. These kind of things are there. So Porphyria worshipped me, surprised, made my heart swell and it grew. Now the thing is changed. I debated into his answer. What to do? Then while I debated what to do, what he must have to do, he's debating his own self. He became pale to find out that she loves her. She loved him. She worshipped him. That kind of thought make him pale. Now the tricky thing happening in the poem. Which kind of tricky thing? You must be think about this tricky thing because this dramatic monologue, this thing represent that kind of tricky thing. You are thinking they will met together, they will be happily remain there, and they will live their life happily. But the thing is totally changed. How it changed in the poem? Now the writer says, and she's my fair, perfectly pure and good. I found. Now what to do? A thing to do. A thing to do in all her hair. In one long string, I wound, and 3 times around her little stalk I strangled her. No pain felt she. I am quite sure she felt no pain. Okay, we are going to write it and then understand. That moment, at that moment, she was mine, mine, fair, perfectly proud, pure, perfectly pure and good I found. A thing to do and all her hair, a thing to do and all her hair in one long yellow string. I won't. Yes, he used the word I. I won't. 3 times around, 3 times her little thought around. I strangled her. She felt no pain. No pain she felt. These are the words. No pain she felt. Strangled her. No pain she felt. I was quite sure she felt no pain. You can see the lines changing of that is called as anastrophe. Anastrophe means inversion of words in that manner that you can find no pain, she felt no pain. That is called anastrophe. Here, that moment she was mine and mine and she was mine. This she was her. She was narrator's. She knows. Narrator knows that she was his forever. Now, but a thing to do. What he did, he hold her hair in one long string and thought it around 3 times, thought it around his throat, strangled her. She died. She killed her at that moment with her own hair and said, and see, look how he said that in a very disrespectful manner that with the dead body. Now she is dead, but what he said, I strangled her. No pain she felt. I'm quite sure she felt no pain. This kind of he just think that she has no pain. But you can see in another one, she is not feeling any pain when he killed her. Next moment, when he says, as a bird, as a short bird, hold a bee. He want to here what he want to do? He want to hold a person like that. He want to hold the emotions of person. He want to be a person who is most king-like person, and he want to make her submissive. So he want to say that as a, you can, we are going to write it also. As a shepherd, he hold a bee. I verily open a lid, open her lids again, smiled her blue eyes, laughed blue eyes, not smiled here, laughed blue eyes without a stain. He another time said that she don't feel any pain without a stain. When uh, after after death of her, she just opened his leg like this and said that as one person is strangled at that time, you can see her eyes will become blue at that time. So he says smiled bluish type. How metaphor, how the personification are used here. After till he says laughed blue eyes without a stain. There was no stains. We can find it. Now, and I untightened the next tree. What he did, the next tree, he is using a personification here. Untightened the next tree means he untied the her thought about her neck, about her neck, her cheek. Once more. One what another time happened? He laughed again. Blushed bright. She laughed like blushed bright beneath my burning kiss. Even she was dicey kissed. He kissed her on her cheek and feel that she was blushed at that time. This is a narrator psychological condition. How he kissed her and then she felt no pain. She has uh, laughed bluish eyes, then he said, blushed bright, beneath burning, my burning kiss. This is the thing. Now, he's just dead body, but he's just with the dead body, but he says that he's he's just with dead body, but he's just saying that like a living thing. And just say that I propped her head up. He propped her head like as before, and only this time my shoulder bore. Means he put her head on his shoulder. That means that this time he feels like his shoulder are responsible. His shoulders are have his shoulders have that kind of condition who is responsible to take care of everything. He is the king-like person. He is a worshipped person. He is a god-like person. And the porpheria is submissive. He must have to be responsible for the narrator. He must have to reliable to the narrator. So after killed her, she says he says that her head, which droops upon its tail, oh like this. Okay, forgot I propped her head as before. my shoulder more. Her head, which droops upon its tilt. The smiling rosy lips, rosy little head. So glad as it utmost will that all it scroned at once is fled. I probed her head as before. She hold her head like that as before, and then only this time my shoulder bare. What means he put their head on his shoulder and her head, which drops upon his chin. Her head remain there on his shoulder, the smiling rosy little head. He feels that she she must be submissive and she must remain on his shoulder, and she feels very happy at that moment. The smiling rosy little head. This is the condition of mental condition of the narrator. He feels what she doesn't feel like that. The smiling rosy little head, so glad as it at most will. And this is his own will that she must too led for his own will. Will, that all its crowned, the ones is laid. That person's of upper class who scolded them, they are all ran away. Because now who win? Narrator win. Because she have to remain there. The class discrimination. Upper class are remain to the lower class. So that will it's grounded at that all it's grounded at once is fled, ran away. And I, its love and gained instead. Who gained instead? Narrator. Who gained against all. Porphyria's love. She guessed not how her darling one wish would be heard. He thinks that that is not her darling one's wish. That is not Porphyria's wish, but that is narrator's wish which put into the mouth of death body of Porphyria. That is Porphyria's wish, love. She guessed not how her darling one wish would be heard. And thus we sit together now and we sit all night there, and yet God has not said a word. Here you also use the word God has not said a word. Means he has committed a crime. But here God is not depicted, not thinking, not saying anything to the narrator if he is doing a good or, and here the narrator thinks that he is doing just a good thing to kill her beloved, to kill his beloved. This is all about for various lovers. So if you like this, then go through it and understand this. Okay, thank you.